Hey guys, we're back here for another video. And I usually come across situations where people ask how to join these sanding belts. Well, in the factory where they already assemble us with the equipment. The system is different. Tape is used for gluing, and there is no press. At home or in the workshop we have to use another trick, which is to make a joint with glue for this. We need to leave it in this state, like mine here. Already I'll show you later. I started doing it and decided to stop and make the video. Well, how do I get there? First, I've already got my sanding belt here. It's a Norton with a canvas back. The first thing is to determine the length of my sandpaper that I'm going to use. For this, I usually put it in the machine, in the sander, and I take the measurement, I make the marking. Well, after the second step, you need to observe that these are the arrows here. Look. Which are the direction in which the sandpaper should run. From there, we're going to take and make a cut of more or less 35, 40 degrees, which is what I normally use. From 30 to 40 degrees, let's say. And make a cut in the direction of the sandpaper entry. So you can see that the ends are this way, and I cut here. From there, what am I going to do? I'm even going to use a model here, which is a shadow I'm going to use as a model. Mine here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take this cut now. I'm going to line it up. This is going to identify. Once I've done that here, I'm going to line it up. I usually even secure my two pieces with a clamp. This side here, put a little clamp so that it doesn't move. A quick release clamp, so that this doesn't get misaligned. So that I can keep this well aligned, the sandpaper well aligned. For what? So that the joint doesn't get crooked later. Well, and I come with this tip here too, which I take great care to keep aligned here. And what am I going to do? I'm going to position it over this one. Okay? Passing here an amount of about 1 centimeter from the shortest part here, 1.5 centimeters more or less. And then going to score. I score here. I'm not going to use my mechanical pencil to draw, but I use a pencil. I'll draw here. This part went to one. And after I've drawn it, which will be drawn here, I'm going to make the second cut. I'm going to trim this aliphatic. Okay? I'm going to do this, and I'll show you later so you can see. I made the draw that was here, and I make the cut. A little over a centimeter. There's no point. A little over a centimeter. Leaving this part here too big. This excess too big. Because later it will be a hard area. This here will be hard later with the glue. You'll understand. Once that's done, what are we going to do? To remove the sandpaper grains from this canvas. And that's what I'm going to show you now. Here I'm going to do this procedure so you can understand how I do it. This part here is very important. This alignment here so that later our sandpaper doesn't make. In the zigzag movement when it gets to the joint point. So we're going here. Mark, determine this position here. Now you can let go. And here has an ugly sum. I think it can be a little better. What am I going to do? I'm going to mark this here a little better. I'm going to come here, I love CRPG. 1.5 centimeters more or less. And I'm going to risk it. This part here is going to be cut now. So let me cut this part. Well, now that I've cut the excess, I'm going to reinforce this line here even more. I'm going to reinforce it now. With a nail, something with a point, I'm going to scratch it. Okay? Ready. That's it. I'm not going to lose this marking anymore. You have to be careful not to cut the list, so just remove it. The grain of the sandpaper. And now what are we going to do? We're going to have to moisten this part here so it can come off. These grains are glued with water-based glue, so I use cotton wool. I take a wad of cotton and make a small wick out of it. I do not recommend dipping it directly into the water, because usually the water ends up absorbed by the student. And this whole part here becomes very fragile near the seam. It becomes very fragile. The grains become fragile. The canvas really tends to. It gets wide, it expands here, and then you completely lose the reference of where the correct alignment. And the sandpaper ends up making a zigzag. Okay, so what am I going to do now? I'm going to make a small part. And I'm going to moisten it. And I'm going to put it just here, on this part where I want to remove. And I'm going to leave it for a few minutes. Sometimes it takes about 20 minutes, more or less. We put a weight on it to make it firm. And leave it here for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to go back and we're going to scrape those grains off. I'm going to do my procedure here, and then we'll come back. Well, coming back here, my sandpaper has been sitting for a while with this cotton ball with water on it. And now we have to remove this excess. Well, what are we going to use then? We will use some tool and scrape an old chisel, an old lace key. I have a little knife here that I made into a saw blade anyway. We can use anything, really. So it's good. We place the frames here on top of the line we marked. Because what does this favor? We take it the right way. We put a ruler. And it comes scraping. If it's not enough, we'll come back. I'm going to determine this line here. But when it's not enough, and it's still hard, we go back, put more in the water, and keep taking it out. Until everything comes out. Once you get started, it gets easier. Be careful not to tear it. Oh, Anna Danielson. There is always a position that is easier, and we want to find that position. And taking it away. Now it's easy.
isso. Ó. Agora fica fácil.
And just keep cleaning. If anything remains, just put the cotton back in the first pass and leave more. And then a little more. Now what do we have to do? Take it off. Let it dry well. Preferably, do not let it get too much sun because otherwise it will wrinkle a lot. It wrinkles, so it's good to leave. The shade just catches some heat and lets it dry until it is completely dry. And then we go back to for collage. Now, just finish cleaning. Well, I thought there was a lack of a better explanation about the direction of the sandpaper, and it's why. I imagine the following after I have this piece glued. It will be glued here. It's just that test piece. Well, and she will be in that sense. The normal sense of the piece, the sandpaper will run to that side. So the friction in the wood will be in that direction. So what do we have? The play is going in the direction of... goes down the amendment. If I put it that way, what happens? I can have the piece taking the top of the seam and not just peeling off, but actually tearing the sandpaper. Some accidents, one accident actually in this case, and I was careless and ended up putting the sandpaper on the sand the wrong way around. Oh. And lifted a little piece and took it into all my sandpaper. I lost the sandpaper. The main reason is this. One of the main reasons we follow the arrows is this. Okay? That in mind, let's continue with the video. Staying here now that our... the seam is already clean, it is dry. What are we going to do? Let's align it with the staples once again. Secure with a clip. Align. Let's go to the procedure. Collage itself. So I'm going to do a good job here. Goodbye. Mine here. It ended up making a difference. Very small when cleaning, but in this case, not here. There's no problem, you see? But he went out a little. Ate a little more here where I removed a little more grain where I was supposed to remove it. But it's not. When this difference is greater, it is good to correct it. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to put a wooden strip underneath, and I'm going to put a little piece of newspaper. Why? To prevent any excess glue from sticking out. Piece 2. The wood. I'm going to hit one here, 2 here. Fix this belly to the navy. I'm going to realign this here now, the final alignment, which is the most important part of our gluing. Make sure that the entire length of the list is well aligned. Not just the seam, because there's no point in me aligning it here if my sandpaper is crooked. Up front, there, for example, it's no use if my list is crooked here. It has to be along the entire length of the sandpaper. It really needs to be. Well, don't let the sandpaper with the last tip over the other. This one here can't go over the grains. I'm even going to do a little extra cleaning here. It's still lost. A little bit of grain here, which is getting in the way. Let's use the scissors. Ready? Here we are. Bad deal.
Pronto.
Okay, once that's done, I'll also nail this part here. Well, I believe there was a difference here, but this, it's tolerable. Good. I ended up realizing that there was a little misaligned back here, and my piece ended up getting here. It much better than it was. What are we going to do? We're going to apply glue. It has to be white glue. Non-fillable white glue. There's no point in using epoxy glue. There's no point in using quick glue, contact glue, even white glue. Without, or at most, that yellow one, the one that's a little stronger, a little faster. You can't dilute this glue with water, so the glue has to be really thick. I'm going to apply glue. Another thing, too much glue. It's not an advantage. Why? Because it will cause volume. Wait. And that's the glue I'm going to have to. So you guys going to get the camera, I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. So it has to be enough glue, however. Let me show you here, let me show. Finally, I'm going to walk here with my tripod. I'm going to zoom in to make it easier. Sorry.
Gente,
Shake the camera. It's a little blue like this. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's it. One. Well, I've thrown everything here, you guys. Now, I'm going to spread this with a brush. If necessary, add a little more, but it has to be. There can't be too much glue, as I said. Here there was a little missing. Okay. And now we're going to close this.
ótimo.
So I'm going to put it back in position. I'm going to put another piece of newspaper. And now we're going to close it. Shall we put another one, ruler inside? It's important that these two rulers are well equipped. They can't. And now we can close it with a staple or with screws. Well, I'm going at using those things. What am I going to do here now? Complete. Let me release my staple. I'm also going to put this on. I'm going to put the nails that went through. I'm going to put a C-clamp still holding it here in the middle. Yes. On each side. This is to make it a press. It's important that this is well braided. Now I'm going to let this dry for at least 12 hours. And then we can take it out. Okay? Okay, let's wait now. Okay, back. Let's finish. Door. Art. Thank you. Is there another agreement? Why did we put the paper? Otherwise it would have stuck to the wood. Now we'll cut off this little burr that's left here. With the scissors later and everything's ready. Well, that's it. One more. That's a job done. All right, guys. A hug to everyone.